Good morning, everybody. How are you? I hope everyone is doing well this morning. If you are here live, I would love for you to say hi in the chat box. Let me know if you can see and hear me okay. Just adjusting things here. So, good morning, welcome. I'm glad you're here on this Thursday morning. It's exciting. I have lots of questions to answer. Let me just, no, we're not going to do that. I was just trying to post this over to the groups, but I cannot. So, hi Debbie, how are you this morning? Hope you're having a good day. Good morning, Laurie from Arizona. I don't know what time is it in Arizona. Is it like 7 in the morning? Maybe, if my math is correct. Morning, Jane. How are you? I was talking to a friend of yours this week. Who was I talking to? I think DJ. Aren't you and DJ friends? I think I had a chat with her this week. Hi, Amelia. Great. Thank you, Amelia, for letting me know. Hopefully the sound is okay. I can turn up the volume if you need me to. Let me just check on here. There we go. How about that? Hi, Judy. How are you? Good morning, Marie. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Gillian. Laurie. Yep, 7 a.m. Oh, my math is good. I can subtract 3 from a number. Morning, Jean. How are you? All right. Let's see. We'll wait a couple minutes for everyone to arrive. But why don't you let me know in the chat box what you've been making this week? It could be could be books, but it could be something else. You might have been baking up a storm this week, or you might have been quilting or knitting and crocheting. It's the season, right? Morning, Maria. Morning, Sidella. Morning, Amy. Hi, Melissa. It's nice to see you. Yeah, let me know what you've been making this week, because I know for a fact you've all been making things. Let me just adjust this camera a little bit. Oh, yikes. I'm trying to adjust it so you don't see quite how messy it is here, but you know what? It's real life, right? So no one lives in a perfect house right now. 31 Days of Halloween booklet. That's what Debbie's making. Mandy made it in before the late bell. Yes, you did, lady. Let's see, what's everyone been making? Ooh, avocado dyed paper. Nice. I have a big bag of avocado skins and pits in the freezer, which I keep adding to. It's like a year old now, and I keep thinking I've got to dye some paper, but it feels like a winter project when everything in the garden's gone away. Morning, Connie. I love you being here too. Oh, it's raining in Florida, says Sharon. I'm sorry. Amelia's been quilting and jelly printing. Oh yes, Barbara, you took a class right this week with Nancy to make squash blossom boxes. I saw them on Facebook. They look fabulous. Laurie's been making a concertina book in an altered Altoid tin. Oh, what is it about Altoid tins, right? There's just something so appealing about them. Just that little size. I don't know. Whenever I'm in the grocery store, I don't even like Altoids, but I just feel like this need to keep buying Altoid tins. Morning, Alyssa. Morning, Sharon. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I don't know if Mickey is online or not. I suspect not. What is the time? It's an hour behind 9. I suspect Mickey isn't online right now. I think she has other things to do in the morning. But thank you for saying that. So Mickey is my new well, she's the new team member for the Handmade Book Club. So it's kind of exciting. Alyssa has been making hand-painted hardcover journals. Nice. Can't wait to see those. Renee says, how do you use avocado to dye? Why don't you let us know, Victoria, in the comments, how to dye with avocado? Because I've actually never done it. I know you have to chop up the pit in the middle, which is easier than it looks. But I've never done it. I just have them all in the freezer ready for my one-day project. Hi, Barbara. I've been missing you too. Let's see, what else is Maria's been knitting a shawl. She's made 2 books, and she started knitting a new sweater and some cooking. Good grief. Whew, Maria's on a roll this week. Celeste has been making a wax sculpture for a summer exhibit. Ooh, it's going to be a bronze cast. Nice. Holy cow, you guys have been busy this week. I can't say I've been that creative. So I had planned, I know I'd said last week I was going to do a book review of the Heidi Kaya book and make a book from it, but it just didn't happen. So yeah, there's just really no other way to tell you this. I have so much going on right now, it didn't happen. So I thought, well, I'm not going to not show up today. I figured I'd sort of open it up to questions and answer any questions you have, because I get a lot of emails every single week with different questions, which I'm happy to answer, but often they're questions that other people would like answered too. So I figured, why not show up this morning and answer some questions here. So we had a lot come in. So I'm not even sure I'm going to have time for more questions. I had a lot come in. Most I can answer. A couple I can't, and I'm hoping you'll be able to answer. And a few were sort of project suggestions, which I can't really do on the fly today, funnily enough. But I have put them in my folder right here, so that I can remember to do them and who asked to do them, so I can let you know. Arlene's been working on a book. The theme is weather. Oh, nice. Celeste says we all get bogged down. Yeah, we do. Let's see. Sharon Pfeiffer has been knitting, and felting sheep. I've always wanted to do felting. Of course, I do need another hobby to add to my list, but let's see. Good morning, Patsy. Morning, Renee. Okay, so let me have a look. Quick thank you to I get happy mail every single week from all of you. So this I received. I don't think Vicky Gray is on the line, but this she sent me a while ago, but I just received it. Look at this cute collaged postcard with like really nice writing. Like on the other side, isn't that nice? So, and yeah, so I got that this week from Vicky, Renee on the main. So that's cute. That's going on my wall. And then Pam sent me a lovely card this week. She sent me a nice Shep Fairy card, which is very cool. That's definitely going on my wall. And she sent me a postcard for me to send to someone else. This is fabric. So I will be sending this postcard to someone who's on this call today, or this Facebook Live today. So thank you, Pam, for the fabric postcard. It's like hand-painted fabric. So with a little sort of, don't know what those are called, circle. Oh, I forget what they're called, but it says art on it. So thank you, folks. I do like getting happy mail. Put those out of the way. All right, I'm going to leap into questions. Elizabeth's been making leather books. Oh, me too, actually. I've been making leather books for, well, maybe for October's book club book. All right, so I have 3 pages of questions, 3 whole pages of questions. So I'm going to leap right into those questions. You may need a pencil and paper, because I'll be because we're on Facebook Live. If I was on Zoom, I could share my screen with you, but on Facebook Live, I can't share my screen. Good morning, Diane. Good morning, Cheryl. But I have some links in my browser, which I'm going to share in the comments. So you will at least be able to search for those. So let me, I'm just trying to make sure I have everything to hand. So the questions were like 3 types of questions that came in. One was a business question. Elizabeth, oh, that's a good question. I don't know if I'll get to it, but I'll write it down. What aspect? Hold on, I'm just writing this down so I forget. That's from Elizabeth. Okay. If I have time, I'll get to Elizabeth. So these were ones that everyone posted ahead of time. So it's a lot of business questions, Then there's some book and supply questions. And then there's a whole page of projects that people wanted to do, or some ideas for. So I am going to start with the business questions, because they were the ones I got the most. So Maxine asks, I feel like I'm on a radio show or something. Maxine asked, I would like to know how to get started on Etsy, and an overview of what you consider to be the positives and the negatives of selling on there. Okay, so I'm going to give my answer to Maxine. If you, who are watching this, because there are nearly 100 of you, have input for Maxine, pop it in the chat box. I'd love to hear. The positives and negatives, Maxine, to being on Etsy. Well, the main positive and the main negative are the same thing. So it's a low barrier to entry. So it's easy to get started on Etsy. There's no upfront fee. You just pay a fee when you sell something. So it's a low barrier to entry. But because there's a low barrier to entry and it's easy to get started, that means there's lots of people on there and sort of the marketplace is fairly flooded. However, when I was selling on Etsy, I did great. Another positive to Etsy is you can, I really don't want you to sell your work priced very low, but you can sell at wholesale cost on Etsy, which makes it more affordable. And we will get to pricing in a minute because Barbara Fritz Elliott had a question about pricing, which I'm going to get to. So the positives are that, it's easy to get started, but it's a crowded place. However, if you find yourself a really nice little niche, like a very specific product that you're selling, you can do really well on Etsy. I wouldn't just sell like a general product that lots of other people are selling. I would really do some research and pick something very distinctive, a very distinctive style, or for a very distinctive event or person. When I was doing my books on Etsy, it was maps. I had vintage maps on books, specifically for people going on their honeymoon. So it was very, very narrow, but I did really well. Some tips though, if you are gonna go on Etsy, is your photography has to be top notch. That's the one thing. That's the only way you're going to stand out, is by doing really good photography. And for really good photography, you're going to need natural light. You're going to need to be in front of a window. You're going to need like white or very plain background and just nice, bright, crisp photographs. You can do it with your iPhone, honestly. You could do it with your iPhone and a tripod. Where's my tripod? So let me just show you this right here, and this will come up later when we do classes. I have this tripod for my iPhone because I have one of these big iPhones. A tripod for your iPhone or a tripod for your regular camera, and then lots of natural light and practice, get some really good photographs for Etsy. And then what I would say is, don't rely on Etsy to do your marketing. It's on you to do your marketing. So you're going to have to pick a social media platform. Just pick one. Don't pick 20. Just pick one. Well, there aren't 20, but you know what I mean. Don't decide to do Facebook and Pinterest and Instagram and Twitter, although I don't know who is even on Twitter these days aside from some crazy man that we all know. Pick one social media platform and just be consistent on that social media platform. Post every day, twice a day, consistently. You're just going to have to do your own marketing if you go on Etsy, just because it's so crowded. But I still think there's room for people on Etsy. I think it's a good platform and it's a really good place to start. But just keep those things in mind: good photography, and you've really got to do your own marketing and find your own customers and niche down to something very specific. All right, let's see. I'm just checking, see if anyone else has input on Etsy. Hello, Kathy Hinsman. You're working with, you've got avocado skins waiting too. Isn't that funny? Okay, second question was from Phyllis Boudreau, and she says, I was wondering about using maps or pages from an atlas in her book as covers or within the book if I want to sell them. Are they copyrighted? So I'm not a lawyer, I'm not so don't quote me, but my understanding is that yes, maps are copyrighted, unless it explicitly states that it's published under a Creative Commons license. However, the US Geological Survey maps are in the public domain, so those can be used, and copyright only lasts a certain amount of time, like 100 and something years, I think. check the laws. So when I was selling books with maps, I would use really old vintage maps. So I would make copies of them with my colour copier because they were really delicate vintage maps. And they were out of copyright. They were from like the 1800s or something. So yes and no, Phyllis. Yes, they are generally copyrighted unless it says otherwise, or it's an older map and you know it's out of copyright, or it's from the Geological Survey. Good question. But if you're not selling it, then and it's for personal use, it doesn't matter. I won't worry about it. Cross that one off. Paula Peacock. Paula Peacock says, I'm interested in teaching online, but I don't know where to start or what equipment to buy. Could you point me in the right direction? Hold my cup of tea. I have so much to say on that. I don't think you remember are you a member of the book club, Paula? I don't think so, but I can't remember. Because in the Handmade Book Club, we're meeting monthly now to discuss this kind of thing, and this comes up a lot, and I get questions every week from people about this. So within the next month, I'll be doing a blog post which lists all the equipment I use. But just quickly, if you want to get started teaching online, there's a couple of considerations. Are you gonna organize it all yourself? And so, find your students and, sort of do all the marketing yourself? Or are you going to go through like an existing art society, a library, a community centre, your local senior centre? Are you going to work with an organisation, or are you going to do it independently? So there's two considerations to think about. Generally, community centres and different arts organisations are going to want you to do a live online class. So that's your next consideration. So whether it's independent or with a organisation is your first decision. Second decision, are you going to do live or recorded online class? So if you're going to do live, which probably most art centres are going to want you to do a live class, you're going to need different equipment than if you're going to do a recorded class. So if you're going to want to do a recorded class, the typical online class that you see, you're going to need a camera or a video camera. So like a DSLR camera or a video camera. You could use your iPhone. You could. The video is not bad. You could use your iPhone, but you'll need some editing software like iMovie just to, get it all together. You will need a microphone because the built-in microphones are not really good enough for recording an online class. So you may want like a little wireless microphone that you plug into your camera or your iPhone, or you may want a bigger microphone like this. And you're going to need lighting. So you're going to want as much natural light as possible, but you are going to need some lights to make sure that it's nice and bright. So that's if you're recording a class, and then you will need somewhere to host that class. So like a website or somewhere like Teachable, where you could upload, or you could do it on YouTube, but you have to make sure it's like private. Or you can do it on Vimeo, or you could do it on Patreon. So there are some considerations if you're going to pre-record your class. If you want to do, let me just have a little drink. If you want to do a live class, I think that's easier. If you want to do it through Zoom, I think it's much easier to do it through Zoom. But in which case you'll need, a laptop. A webcam is also useful. So here's this little webcam that I have. I usually put it on a tripod. A webcam is useful for when you're teaching on Zoom, so that you can talk to your laptop, but then you can switch over to the webcam, like over your desk, to show what you're doing. And also a microphone for doing Zoom classes, and some decent lighting. So some people use a ring light. I don't, because it goes in my glasses. I just have like a little light like this. Ooh, like a little light like this, which I have on right now. But you could teach a Zoom class with your iPhone, but it's tough, or an iPad. But those are some considerations to think about. So just to reiterate, am I doing this independently and getting my own students and doing all the marketing, or am I going to work with an organization, which frankly is a heck of a lot easier? Am I going to do pre-recorded, or am I going to do live? And the sorts of things you're going to want: camera to record on, a microphone for sound, and some lights. And they're going to vary slightly depending on whether it's live or recorded. So that's just a quick answer. Let's see. All right, Todd's got some input on copyright if you want to read that. Victoria's sharing about the avocados. Thank you very much. If this, then this. What's that? But I post, but oh, I see what you're saying, Todd. Yeah, if you post to Instagram, then sometimes you can get it to post directly to Facebook. I would just say though that the platforms are different. Do you know what I mean? But it is useful to be able to post the same thing on Instagram or Facebook. I would just say the modes of interaction are different. What's the webcam you have? Well, I don't love it, to be honest. Everyone says, Amy asks about my webcam. It's a Logitech. I forget what serial number it has. You know, they've all got different numbers. It's a Logitech. It's Logitech. I don't love it. I will tell you. It's fine, but it has a hard time focusing. And then I have to put it on manual focus, and then I'm fussing around on my laptop. I haven't found a webcam I love a great deal. Let me share a link with you to the Craft Industry Alliance. They have a blog post. I'm just going to copy and paste it. I posted this in one of the Facebook groups this week. I'm going to post it in the comments now. And it's a really good blog post about setting up virtual workshops, all the different considerations that you're going to want to think about in terms of equipment and I think there's promotion and everything there. So I would really check out that Craft Industry Alliance blog post. I think it's really good. Oh my gosh, there's so much talking for me. Let's see. I've done the Etsy. Pricing. Oh my goodness, Barbara. That's like you know what? Everyone has a different opinion on pricing. They really do. I have opinions on pricing. I'm just going to tell you what I used to do for pricing. Books, this is. Because it is difficult. I'll share with you a story. I don't have one here. So a number of Christmases ago, I made these mini leather books from scraps. They were like 2 inches high, or 3 maybe, but they were tiny little leather books. And I made them from scraps. So like I'd already paid for the material, so I charged $5 for them. And they sold like hotcakes. I mean, they were fucking adorable. You know, like tiny, like 2 signatures, but cute little spines. People loved them. So the next Christmas, I thought, well, I'll just do those again, clearly, because they were a big seller, but I didn't have the scraps left because I'd used them all up. So I priced out buying those materials, buying the paper and the leather and, you know, the thread and everything. And the materials came out at $10 per book. And guess what? So that's, I mean, I made them, and guess what? They didn't sell at $10. So, because, you know, they're these tiny little journals, and, you know, I wound up discounting them and just giving them away as gifts and things. But it's kind of interesting. Pricing is a really tricky thing when it comes to handmade books. So the way I used to do it when I was selling on Etsy to ensure that I made a profit is, let's see, I can't look at the comments or else I get distracted. First of all, you have to decide up front when you're selling online, am I also going to sell to stores? So say you have a couple local stores that you're selling at, that's going to be a retail price. So you're probably only going to get about half of that. You know, you're going to split it with the store. It's either a 50-50 split, 60-40. But if then you go online and sell that same book for a wholesale price, that's not right. That's not fair to the retailer. So you've got to decide ahead of time, am I going to sell locally and online? I'm just going to do online. Or you can solve that problem by selling different books locally and then, or in retail stores and different books online. But that is something to think about when you're setting your pricing. I just used to do wholesale pricing on Etsy because, so this is the kind of book I used to sell. It had a spiral binding and it was 8x8 and it had a map on the front. This is obviously doesn't have a map on the front, but it was these 8x8 books, and I would add up all the materials, including shipping, to get the materials to me, because you know how much shipping costs on Bookboard, for the love of. So I would add up all of the costs for the materials and the shipping, and the materials would come out about $10. So you're like, oh, that's not bad, right? $10. I have my spreadsheet in front of me. That's why I'm looking at that. Then I would figure out my labor. It would take me about half an hour to make one of those books. So what am I going to pay myself an hour? Am I going to pay myself minimum wage? Am I going to pay myself double minimum wage? I mean, really, what? So this was, I don't know, 5 years ago or something. So I was like, I'll pay myself $15 an hour. That's really not that much, but whatever, So there was another $7.50. But guess what? I was renting a studio. So I had studio costs. My studio was like $400 a month. So for each book, I had to think about like, well, how many books a month am I going to sell? I was selling about 50 a month. $400 in rent. I've got to cover the cost of that. That really increased the price. And then what if I want to make a profit? I added on $5 profit for every book, because, what if for some reason this went gangbusters and I had to perhaps hire someone to help me? Well, that hourly rate is now going to someone else. And so I'm not making any money, so you have to make a profit too. So all told, when you add up supplies, including shipping, when you add in labor, when you add in any overheads you have, I know most people work at home, but not everyone does. When you add in profit, the wholesale price for my books came in about $47. So if I was going to then, that would be the wholesale price. So if I was going to then sell that to a retailer, I would at least need to double, if not triple that. I don't think people was going to spend $100 on it. They might. So I would sell it for $50, and I did great. I sold plenty at $50. But there are lots of things to sort of factor in when you're making a book. So there are some of the things that I used to think about. I know some people triple their wholesale price to get the retail price. But again, it really does make the books very expensive, and not everyone's willing to pay that. So that's my thoughts on pricing. And I know everyone has really strong feelings, but can I tell you one thing? When I first started out on Etsy, I didn't charge very much at all. And then I think I started out with a 5x7 book. I swear I charged like $10 for it. And I think by the end of my time there, I was charging about $35 for this small book. And it seemed like every time I increased my price, I would sell more of those books, because I think there's a perceived value. If something's a higher price, people sort of think it's a higher quality or sort of more exclusive. So if you're going to be selling your books, please make sure you cover your costs and you pay yourself and you have a profit. And please don't undersell yourself, because I think you'll find that people will, to a certain point, tolerate higher prices. Obviously not, crazy prices, but that's my 2 cents on pricing. Let me see if I can answer some questions. I love the rosy pink color. Let's see. Oh, sure, Lucy. So Lucy's asking about some upcoming projects. I'm going to add those to my list. Hold on. Hold on, Lucy, because if I don't write it down. You wanted the soft K's, and what else did you want? The Barber Pole diamond. Well, some of those might be coming up. All right, I'm writing that down, Lucy. Thank you. Let's see. So Jane, yes, I wonder about this. So Jane says, how about a sports orientated webcam, like a GoPro? Yeah, maybe that might have an easier time change of focus, because if you're moving your hands, the webcam has a hard time sometimes sort of picking up focusing when your fingers are moving quickly, like when we're sewing and stuff. So yes, Jane, that's a good idea. I just spend so much money on equipment. What's the cheapest way to ship books, says Lisa? It's really expensive. Yeah, I'm not sure there is a cheaper way, because we can't do medium mail, I don't think, for a journal. I mean, you might be able to, but I think it's for printed books. I generally just do priority shipping. Tell you what I do. Let me just go grab one. I order, if you've bought anything from me, you'll probably know. These priority mail envelopes, if you're in the US, you have to order them. They're bubble mailers. You have to order them from the online. You can't get them at the post office, but they're a flat rate of $8.50 to ship. So it's not, it's a little cheaper. So, and then you know they're free. You don't pay for them. So that keeps it cheaper for the customer. So this flat rate envelope from the USPS is a really good choice for shipping, but there's no way around it. Shipping is horrendous. Oh, Mandy says if you use Book Crate, it can't be in one of the post office's boxes or envelopes. Let's have a look. Todd says, yeah, if you're selling retail, you have a commission. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, they're going to take it 50%, 40%. Yeah, definitely. Let's see. Helen says she's a conservator and she has an hourly rate for materials and cost. She says she's been self-employed for 14 years and never made a profit. It's tough, yeah, it's really tough. Let's see. Thank you, sis. Yep, Mandy says, yeah, maybe try UPS or FedEx. Yeah, I personally don't use them, but and Claire says she likes discount sites like Pirate Ship. Nice. Deborah's talking about avocados. All right, I have one more business question, folks, and then we'll move on to book questions. So I'm going to set aside my spreadsheet for my pricing. All right, this is from Janet Hickey. I don't know if Janet's on the call, actually. I didn't see her. This is from Janet Hickey, and she said, your teaching format and Handmade Book Club is the best I've ever been involved with. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. What was your process from concept to product? So that's a big question. So if you don't know what the Handmade Book Club is, it's like it's a monthly membership site. So you pay a monthly fee. It's like, well, it will be $20. People who started early, it's cheaper, $20 a month, and then you get various things each month. A new project, you know, a community. Gosh, how many Zoom calls do we have now a month? Three Zoom calls, a big library of projects, a whole bunch of things. It seems to be more things each month. So it's what's called a membership site. And the way I came upon the concept was through a sort of mentor called Stu McLaren. And he teaches business owners how to run membership sites. So the difference between, say, a membership site and a online class, for example, would be, you know, you'd have sort of online classes, you'd run an online class for a month, you'd get a big chunk of income, and then you'd be teaching that class, and then you take a break. And so when you teach online classes, unless you're literally doing them like back to back to back, your income sort of goes up and down, it spikes. But the business model behind a membership site is that your income is kind of consistent, as long as you don't suddenly lose all your members one day because they don't like you anymore, which hopefully won't happen. So it's not my concept, a membership site. Plenty of people, I mean, look at Netflix. You know, they have that's a membership site. We all pay X, whatever we pay a month, and Hulu. You know, there are membership sites now for socks and for shaving supplies and all sorts of things. they're a good business model because it's a consistent income. For me personally, the reason I wanted to create a membership site, aside from that business element, was more the community element. You can teach a one-off class or a in person or online, but then once you've spent that time with those people, they sort of disappear off to where, far corners of the earth. But with a consistent club like this, we get more of a sense of community, which I really, really like. And something that I've always kind of been pretty good at doing since I've started this, like in 2007. So creating creative communities is something that I really, really enjoy. So that's why this sort of model really appealed to me, Janet. And let's see, my process really, I'm not really sure what the process was. And I tell you another reason why, and part of my process too was books like this. Books like this are fabulous. Like, Heidi Kyle is a freaking genius. Can I tell you though, I can't make head nor tail of it. The diagrams and the words are really difficult to understand. So are Keith Smith's books. And I heard that, if I heard that once, I heard that 1,000 times every month. And so I really wanted a site I really wanted to create this community where we could have videos, we could have a library of videos, we could have a library of basic videos, like, well, what is paper grain, without having to spend, an hour on YouTube or an hour on Pinterest searching for stuff. I kind of wanted to have this one-stop shop. So that was kind of the concept behind it too. And also I wanted to make it accessible because, God bless Heidi Kyle, she's like a genius, but I can't really understand what she's talking about mostly in this book, I'll tell you. And I really wanted to make some of this stuff accessible to crafters and perhaps make it a little less rarefied. So thank you, Janet, for that question. And also, I have one more thing to share, which is a little personal, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Ooh, good for you, Janet. Ooh, sorry, she took a class with Heidi Kyle. I bet that was amazing. I've lost my thread. Oh yes. On a personal note, I know Andy's going to hear this. He's upstairs. He's probably listening in. But in 2018, I spent all of 2018 with my best friend who was dying of cancer, and she, from diagnosis to dying, it was 1 year, and it was pancreatic cancer, and it was horrendous, but it was a really transformative experience. But can I tell you, she didn't make her 50th birthday, and she didn't get to see her kids graduate high school, and she didn't fulfill a lot of her dreams and goals. And really, that's why I started the Handmade Book Club in 2019, because I thought, I'm not waiting any longer. Life is really short, and I know that's trite, but when you see your best friend, go from vibrant, healthy woman to, you can imagine, it just made me think, what? I gotta do this. So that was really my impetus too, was that I've been wanting to do this for years, and I didn't have the courage, and I didn't think it was good enough, and oh my God. And I just thought, what? I should do it. So I wanted to share that with you. That's a little personal, but there we go. So I haven't ever shared that online before, so hopefully that wasn't too much. So all right, thank you very much. Gosh, there's so many things here. Oh, good, Janet, you are there. I wasn't sure if you were there. I hope that answered your question. I wasn't quite sure. Thank you. You guys are so kind to me. Yeah, thanks, Celeste. Yeah, the books are horrendous. Let me see. Darlene says, how many forums do you use to communicate to your community? Newsletter, blog, and how often? Oh, blimey. A lot. Let's think. I have 2 Facebook groups. So we have the big Facebook group where I communicate as often as I can. And then we have a small Facebook group for the Handmade Book Club. I have a newsletter, which I send, obviously to everyone. And then I also have a weekly newsletter to my Handmade Book Club. They're the main forms of communication. The book club has a community forum, which isn't so well used. I do a little bit of Instagram, but it's generally email and through Facebook groups is the way I communicate with my customers mostly, and with my community. So I hope that answers that. Yes, quite, Phyllis. Thank you, Anne. All right, book questions. Donna Silberman says, what's the best knife for cutting paper? So if you not board, if you want to cut book board, I would and you don't have access to a board shear, you don't have a friend like Todd who can let me use his board shear, you'd use a utility knife. But for cutting paper, the 9mm Olfa cutter is the bomb.com, because it's inexpensive and these blades snap off. So, you know, I snap these off a couple times a day. I'm going to put a link to where to buy it in the US right here in the comments. Thank you, Barbara. So yes, I haven't found anything better than this 9mm Olfa knife. And Nancy Ackley tells me that you can get an own brand version from Dick Blick for about $5, which she sort of buys in bulk for her classes. So this is a nice little knife. I really like it a lot. And it's, I mean, you could use an X-Acto, but it gets expensive with X-Actos replacing the blade all the time. And I just like this because, you know, it's got a longer blade and, you, like I say, you can snap it off. Let's see. Next question. Mary Ann Miller. Are you here, Mary Ann? I don't know. Do I sell my handmade papers? I mean, I didn't make them. You know that, right? But I only sell my handmade papers twice a year now, Mary Ann. So in the underneath here, the description of this video is a link to my newsletter. Please sign up for that. The next sale, I don't know when the next sale is, February or March will be the next sale. So yes, and that will probably be the last sale, I think. It depends. We don't have a ton left. Someone else says, Barbara Saunders says, so I think people watching this are going to have some input on this, Barbara. I'm going to give you my opinion and then everyone else gives their opinion. Barbara says, my retirement is coming up and my husband has asked me what the organisation should get me as a retirement gift. So I'm guessing it's going to be, you know, a reasonably sized gift. My immediate thought is a high-end paper cutter. Oh yes. Do you have recommendations? I can tell you what I use, and I really like it. And I know quite a lot of people in the community use it, and it's called a Q trimmer. So you spell that K-U-T-R-I-M-M-E-R, a Q trimmer. And I believe it's German, and it's a guillotine cutter. So it has a big blade that comes down. The reason I like it is it's solid. It's made from metal, so it doesn't shift. When you cut, the blade is protected by a big sort of plastic barrier. And it's a self-sharpening blade. And it comes in different sizes. It is expensive, I'm not going to lie. The 15-inch size is about $450. So it's an investment. I've got a larger one. I think I paid $700. I've haven't replaced the blade yet. You're not supposed to cut bookboard with it. I might. I'm just saying I might. It doesn't cut book blocks though. It's not one of those big guillotines that cuts a whole book block, but it's going to cut, you know, 20, 25 sheets, and it's going to cut really nice signatures for you. So once you've folded your signature and pressed it, it's going to cut individual signatures really well, and stacks of paper to make signatures. Another brand which I would consider buying also if I needed one is something called Dahle, D-A-H-L-E. And again, it's got a self-sharpening blade. It comes in different sizes and price points, but they've got one with an unprotected blade, which is a little bit cheaper. So the Q trimmer, so the Dahle with the blade protection is about the same as the Q trimmer, but if you opt for one without blade protection, you could be a really careful person. I'm just not. I'm just a menace. So, but I would really do a lot of research and shop around and go to their websites because they have videos. I'm putting a link right now in the comments to this company called Binding 101. I'm not saying you should use them, but you can see those two trimmers and see the different sizes and serial numbers, and then you can perhaps do some research from there. What does everyone else think about paper clutters? Can I explain self-sharpening? Yes, so it when the blade comes down, it cuts against this metal bar. So every time you pull the blade down, it goes against this heavy metal bar and it sharpens the blade. So with each cut, it kind of gets sharpened again slightly. That makes sense. Let's see. Thank you, Celeste. You are sweet. La 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 la. Fiskars, says Diane. Diane likes Fiskars blade. Diane, I'm just looking at the Q trimmer shifts over time. Yep, I think you're right, Celeste. I think it might shift over time if you use bookboard, if you cut bookboard. I'm just saying. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I have a large Q trimmer. You cut board. Yeah, there we go. Oh dear. Let's see. Thank you, Mandy, for explaining that. And Celeste makes a good point, and but Celeste and I both, and I know other people do too, if you know someone with a laser cutter, so you know these fancy laser cutters that you see people making all sorts of things with, from wood and I think plastic too, you can have bookboard cut with a laser cutter. So I know Celeste's local library has a laser cutter, and often maker spaces do too. I don't have one, but someone in my building has one, and it's the same person that makes my bunching cradles. So they will often cut bookboard for me. You do get like a burnt edge, which you have to just wipe off. But it's, if you're teaching a class with like 10 people and they're all making, say, 3 books or 4 books over a weekend, that's a lot of bookboard to cut. So I will send it out to the laser cutter. Or places like Hollanders and Tallis, I think, or Colophon, definitely, as well as Hollanders, they'll do custom cuts for you on bookboard too. All right, or a board shear. Yeah, I mean, a board shear would be really nice. Like I say, you're lucky and you have friends with a board shear like Todd. All right, Cynthia Parasia asked a question that I don't know the answer to. So, but someone on here might. And she says, do you know how to get hold of St. Armand colour paper? That's Saint Armand, or the Hahnemühle Bouguereau paper. Does anyone know how to buy that wholesale? So the Hahnemühle is HAHNEMULE, and then Bouguereau BUGRA. It's a certain type. I think it's more popular in Europe, to be honest. I could be wrong. But it's the St. Armand and the Hahnemühle Bouguereau paper. Does anyone know a wholesale supplier for that? Because I do not. So that was from Cynthia. Linda Rizzo asked, does anyone love making signatures? Oh yeah. Do you make them ahead of time so they're available? I do. I make whole stacks of signatures, and then I press them and trim them, and then I wrap them like in a piece of scrap sort of paper in a belly band, and then just put them in the drawer, and then I've got them ready to go. So I definitely make signatures ahead of time. It's kind of relaxing, right? Just put some Netflix on your laptop and sit and fold and tear signatures. I definitely do, Linda. So if anyone else, there we go. Linda is on the call. So if anyone else does, let Linda know. But I definitely do. It's it's just kind of fun and relaxing. Let's see. I think that's everything for those. And then so then people asked about book projects. So I've written down some ones that Lucy asked for. So Beth and Celeste and Victoria and Sharon all asked for very specific projects, which couldn't quite turn around, you know, in overnight. So I'm going to add all those to the list. So I think Celeste wanted to do some clamshell and some boxes. Beth was asking about mounting artwork onto covers and doing recess covers, so I will definitely research that and do a little tutorial on that. Victoria wanted to make books with circles, and then Sharon wanted to do Coptic French link combination, so I will address that in the future. I just want to let you know I'm not ignoring you. Val Roy had a question which I can kind of answer. Hopefully Val is on here. Are you on here, Val? So, signatures. Barbara makes them by the bunches. I like it. So does Mandy. Yeah, you know, sometimes if you're just not wanting to make a whole book, it's quite relaxing just to make your signatures, right? Yep, Diane makes them. It's funny. Oh, so Celeste says Blick has the Haarlemmermuller and the St. Armand. I'm not sure I pronounced that right. Put my best French accent. Let's see. That's it. Local print shops. That's right. Local print shops will also cut your board for you. Thank you, Nancy. Good point. Let's see. Let me just say. Yikes. Okay. Sorry, I'm just reading your comments at the same time. So this is the last question. Gosh, I've gone on for like hours talking. I've got like a sore throat. So Val wanted to, she said, I'd like to use tags with quotes on, and she's looking for a book structure that you can add tags to, but also have the option to add more tags in the future. She liked the envelope book and the one-page jelly print book, but she wanted some more ideas. So I can't obviously quickly show you these now, but I do have some ideas, Val, if you are on. Thank you, Carol. Oh, hi, Val, you are here. I do have some ideas, Val, of some book structures. So all my books are at the studio because I had someone come in to take pictures last week, so I've got no books at home right now as samples. So I'm just going to move my tripod out of the way, but I do have some ideas from these books for you, so if you don't own them, just you can order them for the library. But a really good structure for you, Val, would be a Blizzard book, and there are several versions. I'm just going to hold it up. There are several versions in this book. This is the Heidi Kyle book, The Art of the Fold. I just hold it up there. And a Blizzard book, I think, would be a really good structure for adding little tags and little notes, and I would say it's expandable. Let me see how many different, I think she does a couple different types of Blizzard. Maybe not. Maybe there's something in here called a Wheel of Fortune as well, and a Blizzard box. So God bless this woman, she's something else. But the Blizzard book from this book would be a really good choice. There's a book in Alyssa Golden's book. So if you don't have this, it's a good investment, but most libraries you can order it. And this is a structure I've made, and I just don't have it with me, but it's called the Winged book. It's on page 69 of my version. Oh, it's right. It's this one right here. It's called the Winged book. And it's sort of folded, and it has these triangles that come out, and there's like 4 places to put little tags and pockets. So I really like that Winged book. It's fun. It's probably something that we could do in the morning on the Facebook Live. So that is the Winged book from Alyssa Golden's 100 Bindings. And then someone gave me this book. So this is an older Alyssa Golden book. I don't know when it was first published. Let's have a look. It was first published in, oh, I can't read. Oh, well, 2003. 2001. 2001. It's not that old. It's like 9 years old. Is that right? No, 19. Okay. Math isn't my strong suit. So this is one of her older books. This is before the other book. Someone gave this to me this week, and I was just leafing through it, and I thought of you, Val. There's a book in here called a card file book. Isn't that cool? So I really want to try that structure. It looks really interesting. It looks like a Rolodex, but that would be a really interesting book to would be a really good structure. It looks like to add different tags and sort of quote cards to. So that is in the Alyssa Golden Unique Handmade Books book. So, but yeah, it looks like a form of Rolodex, but yeah, so there are some ideas for you, Val. The other folks, I will put those on my list from Victoria and Sharon and Beth and Celeste. I promise I will do that. Let me see, I'm just going to read your comments quickly. Thank you, Carol, for sharing that resource. Thank you, Linda, for chiming in about the I don't use cellophane. What do we use cellophane for, Barbara? I'm not sure. Oh, thank you, Celeste. Jane took her Blizzard book class. It was fun. Nice. Yeah, I know what you meant. So Celeste Da Vinci in New York City has Armand. Nice. Card file book. So Debbie used a Rolodex. Yeah, if you look on Pinterest, you can see really nice. I think I have a whole Pinterest board on like Rolodex projects. Does anyone even use a Rolodex these days? I mean, I probably would, but you're very welcome, Val. Let me know if you want me to email those to you. Just drop me an email. I can always email you the names of those if you didn't get them. I'll write down. Diane loves making shell books. Yeah, nice. Thank you for everyone for the printer suggestions. I'm not particularly up on printers. I just have a plain like black and white laser printer. I don't really do a whole lot of printing. Oh, so that's okay. You said you wrap signatures. Oh, gotcha, Barbara. Oh, I just use a piece of scrap paper. So so say I don't have a stack of signatures. Say I had a stack of signatures. Whoops. Say this was a stack of signatures and I'd press them overnight. I just put like a belly band around them, like in 6s or 8s, just so they're not like loose in the drawer. I just sort of hold them together with a scrap of paper and put a bit of tape on them. Sorry. Oh, yes. Rolodex for art swaps. Ooh. I'm not surprised. Right. Okay. I think, well, no, I don't think I know. I've answered the 3 pages of questions. I hope it was helpful. I have a couple of announcements to make before we head out. If you have any more questions, I'll try and answer them. Two announcements. Firstly, some of you already know this. Of course, I don't have the book here because it's at the studio because the photographer was there. But next Monday, starting next Monday, please look for an email. And if you are not on my email list, the link is underneath the description of this video. Look for an email for a project that we have coming up in October. So it opens on Monday and it's a 5-day challenge. So if you're brand new to making books, which I know most of you aren't, but there might be people here who are new to making books, but it might be a really good thing to share with friends who would like to learn how to make books. It's a 5-day challenge, and then so each day you'll make one part of a journal. So you'll see a picture of the journal when I send out the email. It's like a little square journal. It's got like a long stitch and a sort of Coptic or link stitch, and it's just a great beginner journal because you learn how about paper grain, how to make signatures, how to cover boards, how to cut boards, how to sew, how to finish things up. So it's a really good, I mean, it'll be fun if you know how to make books anyway, but there's a small fee involved just to cover the sort of the cost of hosting it. It's free for book club members, and it'll be, like I said, 5-day class, which you'll get a lesson every day through email and a video, and then I'll be live every day as well on Facebook to demonstrate the project and answer questions, in addition to having the videos which are pre-recorded. So if you know anyone who you'd like to introduce to the art of handmade books, this challenge might be the business. And then the second piece of news I have is that next Thursday we will be having I will be interviewing DJ Gaskin from our book community, Crafted Handmade Books. So DJ is the very talented writer and artist who makes the not altered books, the books from the vintage kitchen items. So she is amazing at like repurposing vintage or unusual items into books. So I know you've seen them in the group and they are amazing. So we'll be having that as a webinar format on Zoom so that we can be side by side on the screen and she can show things. So that's going to be a webinar on Zoom, which you will need to sign up for. And so again, make sure you're on my mailing list for that. It will be streamed into Facebook. So only 100 people can come to the webinar, but it will be streamed into Facebook. You just won't be able to interact with her by asking questions. So it's a little bit different, but it's going to be a wonderful showcase of DJ's work. And she has also very kindly provided us with a checklist of things that you might want to consider when creating one of these, upcycled books, as it were. So, because they can be kind of tricky, so she's made us a really nice checklist on some different considerations and give you some ideas on how to do that. So I thought that was very, very generous of her, and to give us her time, and to, she's put a lot of time into creating this presentation for us. So that will be next Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern. It will be streamed live on Facebook, but if you'd like to come to the webinar, please register when I send out the link, so that you can interact with her and ask her questions. Yes, Arlene, it will definitely be recorded, and it will be on Facebook, on my blog, and on YouTube. All right, it will be fantastic, Darlene. She's a really talented lady. She takes like vintage whisks and makes them into like movable books, and she's unbelievable. Let's see, what weight watercolor paper is good for signatures? I use 90 sometimes, or 140. I think 300-pound watercolor is too. Wendy is a little heavy, but it's not so much the weight. It's like sometimes watercolor paper, even when you fold on the grain, cracks. You have to kind of score and make sure it doesn't crack. So it's more the content of it, like if it's cotton rag, or whether it's made from wood pulp or something. So it's more the quality of the paper you want to consider, as well as the weight. Because if you use a cheaper watercolor paper that's perhaps made from wood, it tends not to make great signatures. So the kind you might find in Michael's or something. But if you buy like a big sheet of like Fabriano Artistico, which is a really good quality cotton rag paper, it'll make much nicer signatures. And like 140 pound or 90 pound is good. Let's see, what's DJ's last name? Gaskin. Gaskin. Thank you, Lisa. DJ Gaskin. Sarah. Yes, thank you, Lisa. Lovely, lovely. Gosh. Oh, thank you, Arlene. That'd be great. Thank you. Oh, and that's a good point, Mandy. So Mandy says, Wendy, that 300-pound makes good covers. Yes, it does. Definitely. Thank you, Marie. I hope this was helpful, folks. I mean, I'm happy to do it again. It really was because, though, I didn't get around to doing the project I planned. I apologize. I can't always get it together, I got a lot of balls in the air right now with the challenge and October's project for the Handmade Book Club, which I am videotaping today, can I just tell you. So let's see. Oh gosh, we've gone over the hour, so I should probably head out. Thank you so much for your questions. They were really interesting, thoughtful questions. I really appreciate it. Thank you for listening to me waffle on for an hour and a bit. And it was great to see you all. And I will see you next week on Zoom for for DJ Gaskin's presentation on the vintage utensil books, and yes, it's going to be great fun. So I will see you on Zoom and also on Facebook. Well, thank you, Mandy. Mandy said there's less pressure to make another project. Oh, you do make me feel good. Thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much for all your kind words. I really appreciate it. It was lovely to see you all. And I will see you all next week. Have a wonderful week, a wonderful weekend. Go make some books. Take care. Bye-bye.